The nice thing is going to be I have my heating pad, I have my blanket, so I will be plenty warm for this meeting.
Yeah, you should be warm enough for a change. That's good.
Well, we're there. So this is the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. Pursuant to Utah Code, West Valley City has determined that this meeting will be held electronically without an anchor location given the ongoing novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. West Valley City has determined the pandemic presents a substantial risk to the health and safety of those who may be present at an anchor location. This meeting will be held electronically. Members of the press and public are invited to view this meeting live on YouTube at www.youtube.com/user/WVCTV. Public comment period will be had during this time for those who previously registered to get information on sign in to the meeting. With that then, we have 6 members of the council present. Councilman Hyun is excused tonight. We do have a quorum, so we will begin our meeting with our Inside the City video series.
Hi West Valley, this is Craig Thomas with the West Valley City Neighborhood Services Office. We're wrapping up another great year with the West Valley City Giving Tree program. It's been an amazing year and we've had a lot of great fun and we've had a lot of great partnerships helping families in West Valley City during the holiday season. This year the West Valley City Giving Tree program worked with over 50 families and roughly 160 kids to provide a brighter holiday season for those families. Those families each received many needed things to help those families. They received clothes, but most importantly, for the kids that is, they received some want list items.
This is our Christmas week and it's outstanding. In our job, we get out and about to a lot of different houses and we see a lot of different things and there's a lot of people struggling. This year especially, it's just, and the kids, they don't know what's going on. They don't know why mom and dad can't afford it or whatever. So we're stepping in and it feels good. They see the police officers in a good side this time of year. This year's a little different. Usually we have a big community event for them, a breakfast. This year we're actually delivering them to their homes. And that's kind of cool. They get to see the lights and siren and the SWAT van and the fire truck. And we're there for a good reason this time. So it's a good relationship between us and our community. We are helping out a bunch of needy kids from West Valley. We have over 170 kids this year and over 50 families we're helping out. It's a little bit down from most years, but everything's a little weird this year. That's why I'm wearing a mask. So this is our 17th or 18th year doing this. We started with 2 families and we've grown to this. It's kind of become a custom now. We're doing it every year. I'm actually the one that started it with the first family or 2. We decided to do it and then it's just grown. We've gotten local businesses involved. The honorary colonels for West Valley help us out. Valley Fair Mall helps us out. Old Dominion. We have all sorts of community partners that are helping us out this year. And it feels good. Today and tomorrow is the big day where the kids actually get the stuff and they go home with bags and hopefully have a little bit merrier Christmas than they would have. It's crazy how big it's gotten from the first day where we just passed a hat and got a couple $100 for 2 families between the police department. Now we have all these different community helpers and it's a good thing. One thing that we do, it might be a little different than some, we try to get obviously all the needs. They're going to get a coat, they're going to get pants, they're going to get shirts and mittens and underwear. But then we ask the families, what do the kids want this year? Because other years they might not get the fun stuff, they just might get what's really necessary. And that's good too, but we want to have a little fun. So you can see there's a whole row of bikes. We got about 20 kids that are getting bikes. We have whatever they want that's fun for them. For this year, we try to provide for them. And with that, yeah, we had a good time this year. This is our Christmas week too. We're all going to go home to our families, so I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Once again, we're wrapping up the West Valley City Giving Tree program And it's been an amazing year, and we couldn't do this without all of our community partners. We work with many, many great community partners, including Old Dominion Trucking, VEC, Valley Fair Mall, Optum Healthcare, the Utah Food Bank, and the Utah Pork Producers. They are all great community partners that have really contributed to make these families' Christmases a lot brighter and happier. But most importantly, we want to make sure that we thank the West Valley City residents who have stepped up and really helped their neighbors. They provided great Christmases and holiday cheer for families in West Valley City. Thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. We'll get right into our agenda. We have the minutes of January 5th. A motion on the minutes.
Move to approve those minutes.
Second?
Properly before us. Hearing no further comments, without objection, the minutes will be approved. Not hearing any objections, it's unanimous, the vote. Next, we go to our comment period. Nicole, do we have some people online who wish to comment?
We do have one person for the general public comment period and then another for one of the public hearings.
All right, then we'll begin with the general one. If you'll bring them online.
Okay, the first one is Jim Visa. Jim, you're good to go.
No surprise, I guess. On West Valley's website, there's a statement about transparency. Last week I brought it up about transparency. I loved how the chief his presentation and talked about it. And once again, I want to bring up the code enforcement one. I wish they were as transparent as other departments. The grammar request that I put in, I was very detailed on the second one. Still have not got the information back that I've asked for. I guess no information is an answer to the request, according to the state. I thought it was interesting how when the fire chief tonight in his strategic plan meeting was challenged on some of his numbers, yet nobody challenged Mr. Morris on his code enforcement number. Kind of interesting. Strategic plan meeting. I will be watching. I've reached out to Nicole over the last 2 weeks and even today, and she assured me that tomorrow when they put out the information, I will have what I need to watch. I am going to miss the M&Ms, and I think Councilman Fitiziamu's children will also miss it. We scored big last year on the M&Ms, so I will miss that in person. My West Valley City app, I've done a lot of reporting on it, and still the majority of them, over 99%, there's no answers, there's no conclusions. Even though I've seen that some of the issues have been fixed, it's still not going through the app. I know it's a third-party person, but it needs to be, worked on. Let's see, and then once again, when you guys are going into strategic plan meeting, I would hope that you guys would look at adding a couple more parking compliance specialists. I love the name. They're the two that are out there, and then including Jenny too. I guess there's three. They're so busy, and I know they could use a couple more. I know it's hard at this time to add more people on, but the city needs it. That's all I have. Stay safe, stay strong, and I'll be watching Friday, and if it goes into Saturday. That's it.
All right. Since we have no others, then we'll go to our city manager for any comments.
No comments. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Well, if you do have, make sure you get closer to that mic.
Okay.
Okay, then to city council, any comments? Hearing none, then we'll go to our first public hearing. The issue before us is application ZT-9 2020 filed by Randy Moore, requesting a zone text change to allow properties with access and frontage on a street with planned right-of-way width of at least 80 feet, where an exempt housing development is proposed. We will consider with that ordinance 21-01. This is a change and would allow some more flexibility. And so I probably won't say a whole lot more. I have not yet been able to arrange to go out with staff and visit those. I don't make motions in this meeting, but would appreciate a chance to actually go out and look at some of those properties where this might take place so that I have a better feeling for it and understand it a little better and the impact it will have. So, but with that, it's in the control of the council to do whatever they feel is best. So now, wait a minute. We have a public hearing on this. Nicole, was this one the one the individual wanted to speak on?
Yes, sir. I have the applicant, Randy Moore, here that would like to make a comment.
Okay, then with that, we'll open the public hearing portion and we'll allow Mr. Moore to speak.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Bigelow and council members. I thank you. I do appreciate the opportunity to discuss this. I listened to your study meeting last week with interest, listened to many of the questions or concerns that you had and wanted to address this. So I hope you'll bear with me and give me an opportunity to go over this. This began over a year ago. I had 2 parcels of land that I was looking to develop in the city. Both were on an 80-foot right-of-way. One was I was looking to maybe do a townhome development, the other a 55 or older development. I had my land planner put some concepts together. I then came and met with staff, with Steve Pastrick and Steve Lehman to discuss and to make application. But I was informed at that time that the RM zone had been changed 4 or 5 years ago and that it wasn't even possible to make an application if it was on an 80-foot road. I've developed in many municipalities over many years, and I hadn't really seen a situation where if there is a legal zone, you cannot even apply for that zone with specific requirements. So I started to study this and get involved, and I wanted to just go over briefly, what does the ordinance actually specify? It specifies that in RM zoning, it will only be allowed on 100-foot right-of-way roads. As far as I know, that is Redwood Road, 3500 South and 5600 West. There doesn't really seem to be any explanation as to why it is 100-foot, but it cuts off at 100-foot. There seems to revolve around traffic or access or something of that type, but I want you to the council to bear in mind that an 80-foot right-of-way is still an extremely large road. That is 2 lanes each way in a center turn lane. Those are roads, an 80-foot road would be Parkway, 4800 West, 7200 West, 4700 South, etc. The ordinance also states that you cannot apply for RM zone, that you can apply if the parcel is 2 acres or less in size. There again, it's unknown why there is a cutoff of a 2-acre limit. If a parcel is 2.1 acres, you cannot even apply. I can't even bring an application. It seems like this is some type of land planning tool. There's a general plan, but honestly, it seems kind of like I'm not sure what land planning tool it is. It may serve your needs for what you want to accomplish, but it may also be a problem because you have no opportunity for an application to even be made or looked at. A developer may have a concept for a parcel that may be a nice development, one that would be a nice or great asset to the city, but we can't even look at it. We can't even see it. It seems to be such a broad brush over the city. It's kind of like throwing the baby out with the bathwater a little bit. So I'm not sure of the concerns there. This does not allow RM zone applications. RM is a very broad zoning. It could be apartments up to densities in the 20 units per acre. I certainly know your stand on apartments and higher density zoning, but it also would eliminate any nice townhome developments, normally in the 12 unit per acre range. All townhomes are not the same. Some front on roads, others have higher density stacked units and back alleys. Not all townhomes are the same, but whether townhomes are something that the public is very much in desire of. If you look at the building permits over the last 2 years, about 40% of all building permits in the state of Utah have been townhomes. But maybe there's still not a desire for townhomes. Another option is a 55 or older development. These are highly desirable in virtually every community. They serve the needs of an aging population that wants to sell their existing home and stay in a maintenance-free community and stay in West Valley City where they've lived most of their life. Only 4 of these 55 and older communities have ever been built in the city in the entire time of the city. I know last week, Steve Pastrick prepared a little chart that showed the 4 communities. It's interesting when you look at the 4 communities that have been built. One of those, when I developed the Hunter Village development, in the center of that development, we put a senior community there. It's interesting, all the zones that those projects were developed under don't exist anymore. The R18, R110. There's talk of road access. When I look at each of the 4 communities that were developed, the Valley View Villas, which is over off of 4800, that road is a 60-foot wide right of way. The Hunter Villas in the Hunter Village that I developed, that's a 60-foot right of way that community's on. The Reunion Woods community on 56 comes off 56, but the road coming back is only 60 feet. And then the Majestic Villas on 7200 West, that is an 80-foot road. So all of the communities that have been built are on 80-foot or narrower roads. I want to clarify something about 55 or older communities. There's kind of a question as do they migrate? Do younger people move in? Do families move in? That really does not seem to be the case from what I have been able to find by any means. The CC&Rs of the community state the requirements. Federal housing laws allow the age requirement. It's the only discrimination in housing is the 55 and older, but the community must maintain an 80% or higher number or they will lose that ability. This issue went to the Planning Commission twice. The Planning Commission in our discussions had questions about these maybe migrating. I contacted the HOA in the Hunter Village community and spoke to the president. he told me that in that community, they only had a couple of individuals that may be under 55. It's a situation where maybe grandchildren are living with grandparents. I also contacted the management company in the Valley View community. He told me he was not aware there was a single resident in that community that was under 55. Both stated that when a home is sold, they require closing papers to show that at least one owner on the deed is 55 or older. These communities end up at a lower density. They're not as economically feasible as townhome developments. They're one-level homes. The densities are more in the 7 units or that area per acre. I also looked at some traffic studies. Steve Pastrick gave me some information. These 55 and older communities, the traffic is about half of what they are in townhomes. Communities of equal size and apartments are probably about a third. But the interesting thing is I can't bring an application. We can't even discuss it or look at it. So when this came up about a year ago, I found out that the city was making significant changes to the RM zone. So I came to the Planning Commission meeting and discussed this issue. This was a year ago, to allow on an 80-foot road instead of a 100-foot road. I came to, I think, 3 or 4 Planning Commission meetings. We discussed the issue, and the Planning Commission voted and agreed unanimously to change from 100-foot to 80-foot road widths. I then came to the City Council last January, but this was not discussed or acted on. And then, of course, we went into COVID. So I decided to reintroduce possible text change. I went back to the Planning Commission this time again, and they approved it again, but I decided to narrow it just to the 55 or older communities because I had concerns as to what you as a council may want to see. Over about 4 meetings with the Planning Commission, they were very much in favor. Some of the comments that they discussed in the meetings that they made is that with the current limit of 2 acres, this seemed to not make sense and was detrimental to limit it to 2 acres. With only 2 acres, it is difficult to have an actual development with a functioning HOA. Also, limiting the size to 2 acres would limit the ability to build amenities in a community. It also, they said that landowner might divide the parcel, develop the 2 acres, and then have a remnant parcel that would sit undeveloped. Another comment was that the current ordinance seemed to restrict any future development of RM zoning, mainly to the east side of the city. Another is, what if a parcel of land is larger than 2 acres, but is adjacent to an existing RM zone or a commercial zone? But if it's over 2 acres, it cannot even be considered for an RM zoning or looked at. Planning Commission approved the change unanimously, but I'm not sure how much that of their work is being passed on. Steve Pastrick prepared a map, which he took all the vacant parcels in the city. I think he did a great job in putting that map together. This change that I'm looking at would only affect parcels that are actually adjacent to an 80-foot road. I don't believe that changing this would make for some kind of rush of new projects. There's likely, when I look at the map, maybe 8 or 10 parcels in the entire city that could even be affected by it. Senior housing is very difficult to find in any form in the current market. These types of developments are a way for someone that's lived in the city for a long time to sell their home and to own a home as opposed to just moving into an apartment. So they're able to move into a maintenance-free community as opposed to just renting. So where does this bring us to? Well, I've come up with a couple of options. One is the proposal that I've made, which would allow for an application on an 80-foot right-of-way, but would only limit it to a 55 or older community. This would be very limited in scope, and honestly may only have a possibility of a couple of developments coming forward, and it may not even result in those happening, because it's really up to you to approve or deny them, but I can't even bring them forward. So number one is to restrict it as I proposed. Number two would be just to change from 100-foot as it currently sits to an 80-foot right away without a restriction of the 2 acres. That would be more broad in scope. And then I came up with a third option, which would be to allow applications on an 80-foot right away, but to just limit those applications to a number of, say, 12 units per acre density. This would allow for some higher quality townhomes and the 55 plus developments, but it would restrict any higher density apartment developments. So there you go. Thank you very much for considering. I know last week in watching the study meeting, a couple of you were saying, why is this developer just want to come and change and have us adapt to, you know, he just wants this to adapt to what he wants to get through. That's partly correct, but I also believe that there could be good quality developments that I cannot even apply for. I have no way for you to look at them. I thought maybe there's a means to come and present a development to you to consider, but that opens up some issues of, you know, getting public comment and neighbors and things of that type. So I would just ask to maybe look to make some adjustments here, and you still have the ability to approve or deny, which I know you will certainly do if you do not like the development. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, let's see, there's no one else to speak to this. Is that correct, Nicole?
There actually is one person that would like to comment, Jim Visock.
Okay, thank you. Let's bring him on.
Good evening, Mayor. I also watched the study meeting last week, and it seemed like several had questions. I would hope you guys would take the option of delaying it maybe a couple weeks, putting it back on the agenda, getting time to look at it so everybody has an educational look at it, gets all the questions asked. That's all I have.
Thank you. With that, council, any questions or comments or?
I do have a couple of comments, Mayor.
Yes.
You know, deciding what can be built where is really part of the essence of local city government. And there are certainly going to be people that are unhappy with any decision that we make because it doesn't suit them and what they want to build. And I understand that. And we don't try to be capricious or overly restrictive, but when we changed the ordinance so that this particular project would be disallowed because of the size of the street, the purpose behind that, as I recall, and from my perspective, was not to be, not to cause a problem for developers, but to actually make it better for developers, that they would understand that this is not going to be approved. So they wouldn't make an application and pay for design and seek for investors and do everything thinking that a project is going forward. And then because we are looking at everything individually on an ad hoc basis, we might deny their project for some reason that wasn't a reason for the last project or a reason for the next project. So there's some value simply in the consistency. And if we drew the line in the wrong place, then we'll redraw that line. But, you know, I'd have to be convinced that we drew it in the wrong place, because I don't think it's fair to this developer or any developers to look at every proposal one by one without having some standards and requirements that they have to meet to develop.
For the council's information, I have spoken with Wayne Powell, our city manager. He has assured me that if for some reason we want to delay this at my request, they will meet with me this week. And we can, because my intent is not to delay it more than 1 week. And really what I want to see, I guess, council, is there any possibility of any modification that would make sense? There were a lot of reasons why we put the 100-foot width on a street. There are safety considerations, there are traffic considerations, although some ideas have been presented that may cause further evaluation, I guess. I don't know, but I'd like a chance to go and actually see it. It helps me a lot. That's why I really like the pictures, but the map wasn't as helpful as would have been some pictures as to some of those projects and how they would fit on those. So if that's okay, I would not speak in favor of nor against this project until I have a chance to evaluate it some more. So it's up to the council. By the way, I guess I didn't officially close the public hearing, so I'll do that. So it's officially closed. Although if there are questions of either of those individuals, they could get back online and answer them, but anyway.
I would move for a 1-week continuance of ordinance 21-01.
Second.
Any further comments? And I will try and share, by the way, the information I get just for informational this week. Anyway, hearing no further comments, we will turn to our city recorder for the vote to continue this item for 1 week.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion for continuance passes unanimously.
Thank you. With that, then, we'll go on to our next item, which is application Z-9-2020, requesting a zone change for property at 2454 South, 5600 West. Excuse me. That from agricultural to manufacturing, and then that we will consider that on ordinance 21-02 and then resolution 2101 to enter into a development agreement. This property is 20 acres and its intended use is for a distribution warehouse. And so this actually fits in with the neighborhood there, since there's a warehouse immediately to the west of that project. and streets will be extended to accommodate further development in that area. So the 2540 South Road. So I don't think this needs to have a lot of discussion, but certainly anything else the council would like to add, we can discuss that. Any other comments before I open up for public input? No further comments, so I'll open the public hearing. And Ms. Kamick, is there anyone online for this one?
There is one person that signed up. I'm not sure if he actually wanted to speak, but I can unmute him just to check. Mr.
Thank you.
Godfrey.
Yeah, this is Scott Godfrey. No, I'm in favor of it. We own the land, and we sold the land to the Hines, who did the development to the west, the big one that the mayor was talking about. So I appreciate everybody's help in working on this. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, then, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council.
Mayor, I move for approval of ordinance 2102.
Second?
Properly before us, any further discussion? Hearing none, we will turn to our city recorder for the roll call vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Batista Manu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
I'll just comment that it's interesting, no other thing, that this parcel that we're discussing tonight, we'll discuss the one earlier from study meeting next week, are almost contiguous there. Well, they are contiguous, but on the parts that'll be used. So that area is starting to develop. With that, then we'll go to the next item on our agenda, which is, oh, excuse me. No, we haven't voted on this yet. I guess I better let you do that. Huh?
I move for approval of resolution 2101.
Second?
Property before us, any further discussion? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Batista Manu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yeah.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, that was for the zone change. Now we do have a development agreement upon that, and so to the council.
We've already passed the zone change ordinance 2102 and the development agreement resolution 2101.
Oh, we did both of them in that?
Yep,
Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
we just go so fast sometimes.
Okay, well, I'm not getting old. Oh, wait a minute, I can't say that. And so I have no excuse. So, okay, so we took care of both of those. Now, are we okay to go to the resolutions, 2102? Okay. Thank you, Lars, because Don isn't giving me any high signs. He sits by me when we're on the dais, so I rely on him. With that, then, we have Resolution 21-02, a master services agreement with Ring Central Inc. for telecommunication services. Our phone system is unfortunately technology, 8 years old, and we no longer are able to get replacement parts for everything. We can no longer get support for the system. And before it stops functioning, we need to get a new system. We are getting a system that is compatible with the new one that is in the police department. So at least we have some experience with it. This will have an impact the first year of $176,187. Then thereafter, it will be $135,463 for support, and will be a significant upgrade in our system and allow additional functions to be added. With that introduction then to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 21-02.
It only lacks a second.
Second.
It's before us. Hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Ling,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie-Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we go to resolution 21-03. This is to approve payment of costs to bury overhead lines on 4100 South. And this particular amount is $43,581. With all the work that was going on there near the Mountain View corridor, CenturyLink was doing work there, and we arranged with them to pay for the cost of burying some overhead lines. And there were a number of locations where that was done. We projected an amount that came in much less than that, which was fortunate, but it is still $43,000. And this would approve the payment to them for the work that has been done. With that then, to the council.
I would move for approval of resolution 21-03.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, we'll turn to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie-Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ling,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have resolution 21-04 to approve the purchase of 24 vehicles from Ken Garf Ford. These are for the police department, public works, and a few others besides that. And these will come up to a total not to exceed $751,200. We do this on a regular basis on replacing our vehicles, some due to mileage, some due to maintenance history, and of course, interestingly enough, we are moving our policemen to different vehicles since the Interceptor sedans are no longer available. Anyway, a number of different ones there for pickups, Ford Rangers, SUVs, etc., Explorers. So just with that general, the detail is in there for anyone wanting to see those. Then with that introduction to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 2104.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ling,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie-Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 21-05. This is allowing the city to enter into an agreement with U.S. Bancorp, their leasing and financing arm, for a tax-exempt lease purchase agreement. And this is to purchase computers and related accessories. On this, it will be for $114,535. This is a method that we have been using for a number of years to replace approximately 1/4 of the computers in our police department. The rate will be 1.75% over a 4-year lease. And there is budget in the police department to cover the cost for the lease payments. And if this is approved, we would then approve the actual purchase of the computers using this as the funding for those computers. With that, then, to the council.
I move for approval of Resolution 21-05.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. With that passing, why, we'll now go to Resolution 2106. This is for the purchase of desktop and laptop computers for the police department on this every 4-year program. And obviously there is a high priority for the police department since so much is critical, and there are federal requirements for us to be able to meet things that they require of us. So with that introduction, this $110,385 is before us for the purchase. To the council.
I move for approval of Resolution 21-06.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 21-07. This is an amendment to our interlocal cooperation agreement between the city and Salt Lake County. This is for meals and transportation at the Harmon Senior Recreation Center. This amount is for $18,786. This is to accept those funds from the county to help offset the cost of providing those meals. The county also provides the meals, but this helps offset the cost of having staff there. And this year, of course, instead of having them come into the center and have lunch there, they were handed out as they drove by. Actually, under that scenario, there were more people who were involved in it. But they are for those who qualify under the Division of Aging and Adult Services at the county. With that, then, introduction to the council.
Move to approve Resolution 21-07.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. There's no need for a closed session. We have no, if there are no further comments, then we'll accept a motion to adjourn until Friday at 9 a.m. when our next city council meeting will be held.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Without objection, we will stand adjourned. Hearing no objections, it passes unanimously. Thank you all and continue to stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.